Yo, what's going on, guys? And we're going to be talking about the De'Aaron Fox trade rumors. From my understanding, from people I talked to, this is just Clutch Sports doing what Clutch Sports does and perpetuating rumors around De'Aaron Fox to either stimulate trade interest or to make the front office feel the heat. And really, with this situation, I think De'Aaron Fox is more than likely going to stay in Sacramento unless somebody overpays. So the report goes like this from Tim McMahon. Now, if De'Aaron Fox is going to ask out, it seems like the tea leaves are pointing that way. Still not sure definitively. When you're appearing on podcasts with Draymond Green and laying groundwork, you see how people read into it. And if De'Aaron Fox asks out, San Antonio, Houston are two teams to watch. And that also the Lakers have been heard in rumors due to, him being a Clutch Sports client, as well as Miami due to his connection to Bam Adebayo from college. Now, what would each trade look like? So I went ahead and put together some trades. These are all cap compliant. I think these are the most likely trade packages for each. You're gonna see them all flash through the screen, and then we'll talk about each one individually. But we'll go first one. Heat would get De'Aaron Fox and Alex Len. They trade Terry Rozier and Haywood Highsmith, a first-round pick in 2 seconds. Lakers would trade the package they've been shopping of D'Lo, Gabe Vincent, but then they would have to sweeten the deal with Rui Hachimura and 2 firsts for De'Aaron Fox, Trey Lyles, and Alex Len to help them get some front court depth. Then the Rockets, it would be Fred VanVleet and Jae'Sean Tate, they are shopping. Fred VanVleet is expected to opt out, from my understanding, or either just opt in and then re-sign an extension with the Rockets. Either way, he's expected to stay with the Rockets. And 2 first-round picks. So if they were trading for Fox, you would assume that it would be to replace Fred VanVleet, and the Kings would want a replacement. So right there, they get a wing defender in Jae'Sean Tate and a point guard. And then the final one is the Spurs just get De'Aaron Fox, and they give up Keldon Johnson, Stephen Castle, Malachi Brown, and Charles Bassey, 2 pick swaps and 2 first-round picks. Now, I think the best assets could potentially be the Spurs one, but I think the Spurs, that might be an overpay. And I don't know if the Spurs are really interested like that. And the Houston Rockets continue to talk that they aren't going to make a trade. So we're going to start with the Lakers. The Lakers is going to be the first one we start with, and that's because it's the Los Angeles Lakers. And De'Aaron Fox being a Clutch Sport client, obviously, Rich Paul is going to try to make this work out. And De'Aaron Fox replaces D'Lo. D'Lo's an expiring, so it gives cap flexibility to the Kings. The Kings also solve the power forward position with Rui Hachimura, and this would allow Keegan Murray to play small forward, and shooting guard would be DeMar DeRozan. Even though he's not a natural shooting guard anymore, he would just be big enough to slow down quicker wings, and this would allow you to run D'Angelo Russell and hopefully when he's healthy, Devin Carter, and as well Gabe Vincent as the guard rotation, and DeMar DeRozan can help be a playmaker for you while you walk away with a few first-round picks. Really not that bad of a deal. From the Lakers' rationale, you upgrade the point guard position, you go all in. You also get some front court depth in Trey Lyles, who can be a small ball 5. He's a power forward, and he can stretch the floor for you, while also getting even more front court depth in Alex Len, whether you like him or not. He is a reserve big that's going to be able to provide some help to a team like the Lakers that have been looking to get their front court a bit deeper. Now, let's go over the Heat, but the Heat, if they were to make a trade, it would probably be for Terry Rozier, and Terry Rozier isn't enough money for the deal to work out. So what they would have to do is they would have to throw in Haywood Highsmith to make the deal compliant. And they could get away with doing it with, I believe, Al Burks and Josh Richardson. And I still think they would have to include one more player. So it becomes a whole mess salary-wise. The way I see it is, if you they just re-signed Haywood Highsmith. He's had an up and down year so far, but he would solve the defense for issues or help, be a stopgap for the defensive issues on the perimeter for the Kings, while they also get a guard replacement and a first-round pick in 2 seconds. Again, I think if the Heat were to trade for De'Aaron Fox, it's because they lowballed him and nobody else was offering a good enough deal, and De'Aaron Fox was asking out. That way, I find this one to be a little bit the second least likely. I still think the Spurs is the least likely, but I think the Heat are the second least likely team to trade. Now, the Rockets, they've continued to say they're not going to make a move, and I really think Fred VanVleet kind of encapsulates it, like personifies the culture that they want, the grit, the chip on the shoulder. So this is one that interests me because De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter were given 3-point shooting, and De'Aaron Fox is better than Fred VanVleet regardless of what you think. But would the Rockets see that being such a big enough upgrade to really rock the boat that it could affect team chemistry and personnel? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it or not, and that's what's holding me back from saying, like, oh, I could see a deal like this working out, because the way I look at it, I was like, why would I risk messing up team chemistry for that? And I really don't see how that works. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that one. And of course, the final one, the Spurs. The Spurs feel like, hey, we want to start building around Wemby. Chris Paul's probably going to retire or leave after the season. Trey Jones and Steph Castle aren't going to be those guys. So let's send them Steph Castle. Malachi Branham is already fallen out of the rotation. Charles Bassey is a guy who also kind of like fallen to the wayside. You get 2 first-round picks that aren't even theirs, 2 pick swaps that are only one of them is theirs, and you get Keldon Johnson who will help you like on the wing, which is something that you needed. To me, ain't that bad of a deal right there. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you're the San Antonio Spurs, would you do this deal? I just don't see it. The only team that seems likely to do this deal is the Lakers, and then the only way I see the Heat doing it is if they fully believe that Terry Rozier is not going to work out, and they find out that nobody else is offering the Kings anything, and the Kings want to move De'Aaron Fox as a result of him wanting out, then maybe they can get away with a low ball like that. But I just look at the situation, I just think it's a bit more tepid than it seems, and I just see it being one that it makes more sense for the Kings to just keep him because he's going to get paid there and be the guy. And if he wants out, it seems like it's going to be the Lakers. So that's it. Let me hear you guys' thoughts. If you guys agree, comment where you think De'Aaron Fox is going to end up. Do you think he'll stay in Sacramento? I just think he's going to gun for this Supermax and just basically stay. And if he really wanted out, I feel like it makes more sense for the play this year out and then force a trade in the offseason, either be a sign and trade or just because he technically he can opt in, but he's expected to opt out. So that's just my thoughts.